Welcome all to the second webinar in our series in Striving Towards Success in Mainstream Schools. My name is Uma Soman. I'm a teacher of deaf and hard of hearing students and a listening and spoken language specialist. I have a PhD in hearing and speech sciences, and for the last 14 years, I have been working with mainstream schools in the US and more recently with multiple families in India and their mainstream schools. Our topic today will be about language development for academic success. This is one of my all-time favorite topics, so I am excited to share it with you. Once again, we want to thank Butte Creek Foundation for their support for helping us host this webinar series. And with that, let's get started. Those of you who attended last time might be familiar with this image. Take a second and look at it. The point I want to highlight is that once the child is ready for mainstream and enters the mainstream school, there are various aspects to consider, whether it's the language skills, the self-advocacy, the speech clarity, the hearing technology. Note that all of these multiple areas are interconnected and cyclical, right? So these needs will change over time. Last month, when we met, we talked about 5 steps for partnering with schools. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, please watch our previous webinar recordings available on our YouTube channel under the webinar playlist. So the 5 steps for partnering with schools include: start by choosing the school, approaching the school, giving information to the school staff, and advocating for support, and then finally building a team around the child. So say, you've done all of this. What next? Now that the child is in the mainstream setting, what next? How do we make sure that the child can be successful in the classroom? Look at all these happy faces. School should be fun. School should be enjoyable. School should be a place that children want to go to. And a large part of that is about knowing how to learn in school. So that, along with language skills and reading and academics, which is a large part of what happens in school, is our focus for today. Many of you have seen this image as well. Take a second and look at it one more time. I find this image to be a really useful graphic to think about the long term. And today our focus will be on language, literacy, and academics. So when children start in early intervention, the focus is a lot on early language and pre-literacy and pre-math and learning to read and count. But at what point and how do we support children to develop complex, mature language, go from learning to read to reading to learn and writing, and have advanced literacy skills? How do we then help them to use these language and literacy skills within the academic subjects, math, science, social studies? How does all of that together help prepare children for college and career? Those are the questions that we'll be thinking about today from the lens of the language needed to do all of this. So very simply, right, let's start with the simple question. What are children learning in school? Children go to school to learn how to read and write and do mathematics and science concepts and social studies facts, right? That's just the surface level curriculum. Then there is the hidden curriculum. Learning at school also means learning in a group. If there is a classroom with 20 kids, if there is a classroom with 40 children, how is the child who is deaf or hard of hearing equipped, prepared to learn in this large classroom with noise and distraction and all of that? How is the child learning how to complete a worksheet or write down what the homework is and then submit it on the right day? And if it's a project that is going to take 5 days, not start the day before it's due. How is the child learning in school, in the sense that are they understanding the directions that the teacher is giving? If the teacher is saying, okay, everyone, open your mathematics book to page 52. We are going to do 2-digit additions. I want you to practice doing 2-digit additions and complete the first 10 word problems on page 52. That's a lot of language. The teacher just rambled on. And I hope you heard all of it. I hope you understood all of it. And I sure hope you remembered all of it. Hopefully there was no noise. Hopefully there was no distraction. Hopefully, your classmates' pencil box didn't fall at the same time and create a big noise. That's the hidden curriculum, right? That's what it takes to learn. As children get older, working in groups as well as self-advocacy becomes important in helping children learn at school. I'm going to pause for a second and have you type in chat any comments you have about the idea of a syllabus and a curriculum and a hidden curriculum and what the challenges might be for children who are deaf and hard of hearing. This is how the webinar is going to go. There's going to be a lot of pausing and waiting for your responses today. So again, the ask is write your thoughts about this distinction between the curriculum, the syllabus, and the hidden curriculum, and how it relates to children who are deaf or hard of hearing. If you have a question about it, please type it in the Q&A. I'm going to read some of the comments that are coming in. Parents can prepare their child for the syllabus, but not for the hidden curriculum. I have never seen it explained that way. Those executive function skills, memory skills are hard to articulate for teachers sometimes, but it is a huge part of learning. The hidden curriculum is key to helping children be successful in the classroom. Thank you for those comments. Oh, and by the way, you can type in English script and write in Hindi or Marathi, which are languages I read and understand. And I'll be happy to translate any comments that you write. So if you are taking notes, I want you to write down this concept, the hidden curriculum. What is it that the child needs to know in addition to how to read and write, how to do addition and subtraction? Write it down, and towards the end, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. We have another comment. Before going to the mainstream, that hidden curriculum needs to be built first. Yeah, I mean, the hidden curriculum has to be a part of intervention. We can't just teach children to speak and read and write. We have to also teach them how to learn in a group and remember directions and understand directions and advocate for themselves. If they need to sit at the front of the room they need to do that. If they need to ask the teacher to turn on the FM system, they need to know how to do that. Another comment, as a therapist, we can support teachers to also think about the hidden curriculum. Absolutely. Okay, good. So the concept today, and I just realized I didn't write any of this in Hindi, but the big concept today is access to learning. So I want you to imagine a person in a wheelchair who comes to a building that has stairs. Can they access the building? Can they reach into the building? Can they go into the building? They can't, because their wheelchair cannot climb stairs. They need a ramp for their wheelchair. That is a very basic physical example of access. But I want you to keep that example, because access is the way you can receive or take something, the way you reach someplace. So for children who are deaf and hard of hearing, when we think about how do they receive or take the information in, it's through hearing and seeing, maybe some reading, and by understanding the meaning. So when we think about children in a classroom, what does a child need to access? What does a child need access to learn and to engage? Okay, I'm just putting this out there. We're going to come back to this and we're going to talk about each of these pieces. What they need access to is the form, the meaning, and it helps to have background knowledge. So let's start with the idea of access to form or signal. So the first question I want to ask you all is, so what we are going to do is we are going to imagine you are all my students. I'm going to be the teacher and I'm going to teach you some information today. So the first step is, can you hear it? All right, I'm going to listen. I'm going to tell a story and I want you to be listening and be ready to answer the following questions. Okay, hold on just a second. I forgot my speech hoop. All right. Oops, I don't want you to see the questions yet. I'm going to stop the screen share because I want you to just listen. And initially, I'm not going to show you my face. And I just want you to listen. And then I'm happy to show you my face and you will listen one more time. All right. Here we go. Let me get my story. Maya loved the beach at night, and one of her best friends lived in the inn. Maya go to their usual meeting place on a beach and call out, "Ole, are you here?" She can air for hours while it only fly in and out of the water. Ole is a flying in, pull out to show off his neck. But today, Ole looked what? What the matter? Maya asked. Why do you look so upset? Can't you eat? He asked. The moon is mean. Okay. So now I'm going to say this again with showing you my face. Maya loved the beach at night, and one of her best friends lived in me. Maya go to their usual meeting place on the bay and call out, Ole, are you here? She can air our why Ole, why in and out of the wall. Ole is a flying fish who love to show off his egg. But today, Ole why? What the matter? Maya asks. Why do you look so upset? Can't you eat? Eh? The moon is Ming. All right, friends. I wish I could see your faces for this, but I can't see your faces for this. So I see a comment in the chat that says, wow. What is that wow about? Very difficult to understand with missing speech sounds, right? So now you're going to answer some questions. What is the girl's name? Type in chat, please. All right. Very good, everyone. Good job listening. Who is her friend? Oh, some variation there. I am hearing Ole, Ollie, Ole, a fish, Ole, Uli, Ole, Ule, bee, Ule. Okay, some variation there. That seems to be an issue. What is the problem? The girl said, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" Okay, now we have many different answers. What's the problem in the story? He's upset. Yeah, but why? I told you. Were you listening? Oh, something about the moon. Not in a mood. Maybe. I mean, were you paying attention? I said the whole thing twice. I just think you were not paying attention. All right, clearly, you know, I'm being the teacher who doesn't understand this. So let me read this to you one more time, and then let's see if your answers change. Maisha loves the beach at night, and one of her best friends lives in the sea. Maisha goes to their usual meeting place on the beach and calls out, Uchli, are you here? She can sit here for hours watching Uchli fly in and out of the water. Uchli is a flying fish who loves to show off his tricks. But today, Uchli looks worried. What's the matter? Maisha asks. Why do you look so upset? Can't you see? He says. The moon is missing. All right, let's try this again. What is the girl's name? Ah, there we go. The girl's name is Maisha, not Maya. How could you make such a silly mistake? Just listen carefully. Who is her friend? Look at you all with the right spelling. Good job, people. Uchli the flying fish. And what is the problem? Why is Uchli upset? Oh no, the moon is missing. Okay. I'm going to pause here for a full minute. And I want you to stop and think. What did you just learn? What did you just experience? As you are thinking, you're welcome to type in chat what it is that you learned or experienced. And I'm going to change my audio. Just a second. All right. Can you all still hear me? Yes. Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Lots of comments, right? Lots of thoughts. I'm going to spend some time actually reading those. So our comments include, you could hear more vowel sounds. There was limited access. For learning, listening plays an important role. How a child who doesn't have good amplification perceives sound as. I was unable to understand the sound with or without the cover, the listening hoop, the auditory hoop. We were paying more attention. Even a mild to moderate hearing deficit has huge implications for comprehension. Absolutely. Somebody got to experience through as the child's perspective. I love this comment. Got lost and irritated when unable to understand. Listening is important, but listening right is most important. It sets the foundation for learning and literacy. With lack of access to full range of sound, critical parts can be missed. How difficult it is for children with limited access to listen and learn. All the speech sounds are vital to learning and understanding. We need to pay more attention. What is the child actually having access to? Do I really know? Lovely question. When there is no full access, the understanding also goes wrong and child will eventually lose interest. An eye-opener how the child could struggle. Access to all speech sounds is essential while learning and understanding. It's all about listening and importance of perfect auditory access. It caused frustration, and according to me, I was right, but not according to the teacher. Another lovely comment. Access matters significantly as we teachers need to be mindful. What my child struggles in his everyday life. The child without the right auditory input did not enjoy the story. Can't comprehend my child going through all of this. This is heartbreaking, right? But this is the experience of so many children. The constant need to be hyper focused on listening. The constant need to make sure they are not wrong. And they don't know when they are not wrong. You all very confidently told me the girl's name was Maya. Makes sense, right? Maya is a girl's name. Turns out it was Maisha. Whose fault is it? that you got that answer wrong. No one's fault. It's just what happens when children don't have appropriate access. I love the comment that one person made. I was irritated and ready to give up. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sentences. It was an 8-sentence story. Imagine having to do this all day long, every day, for 5 days a week. And hear comments like, I said it not twice. Were you paying attention? That child is so distracted. Or parents saying, how did you get this wrong on the test? Were you paying attention? Imagine having to live that every day. So this doesn't have to be the child's experience. There are supports available to help the child better access the form and the signal. We're not going to go deep into that today, but appropriate amplification devices, an appropriate FM or DM system in the classroom, a location where the child can hear the teacher, a way that the child can hear, see, and read the material are all solutions to this problem. I'll just summarize it very quickly this way. Auditory access, speech perception, and listening and noise. I had a noise track ready for you all, but I didn't want to be that mean in a webinar. Listening and noise impacts access to the auditory form or signal. So this is access to form, right? So learning through listening is one way to do it. By the way, this is what I read to you. Learning through reading is another way to do it. And for now, I just want you to focus on decoding. Can you decode what has been written? Can you read this? I mean, maybe some of you can, but looking at the languages you speak, I don't think you can. Right? So if I ask you to read this, and then I say, come on, try, go ahead, read it, sound it out. Is that helpful? If a child asks for help and I say, oh, the answer is in the text, read the text. That's not very helpful. Can you read this? Can you decode it? I mean, maybe you can decode it because you can read English, but you don't know what it means, right? So this is an example of you can sound it out, you can read it, but not really understand it fully. Maisha va a su lugar de reunión habitual en la playa y Lama. Uchli, ¿estás aquí? Ella puede sentarse aquí por horas viendo a Uchli volar dentro y fuera del agua. Uchli es en el pez volador al que le encanta mostrar sus trucos. So you can decode it, but does that mean you understand it? You probably don't. What about now? Phew, finally, right? You didn't realize you were signing up for a torturous webinar. But there's Uma torturing everyone. Now imagine the child who can't really read, doesn't have good English reading skills. That's going to be a challenge, right? If I start highlighting the words that they can't read or misread, right? Maybe the child reads this word place as plate and calls as falls. Maybe they're going to think that the girl is going to fall on the beach. And that's a decoding error. All right. So if you can listen and read, does that mean you can understand? Nope. It does not mean you can understand. So here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to have you watch a video. I'm going to pause the recording because we don't want to get into copyright issues when I upload the video to the YouTube. But if you are watching a recording of this session, know that this link is provided in the comment section, and you should be able to click on this, watch the video, and then come back to the recording. All right, it is about a 2-minute video, and I will need you to pay very close attention, right? I, as your teacher, really want to show you something very fun and interesting. Today in science class, we are going to watch a video. Isn't that great? I'm gonna just be the best teacher in the world and do some video and hands-on activities. All right, after we watch the video, we're going to do the same thing in our class. Everyone get ready. Also, somebody please remind me to restart the recording. All right, so you all watch the video. And now I want to do a quick quiz with all of you. What was the name of the dish that was made? Type in chat. Come on, come on. Everybody do it. Everybody has to raise their hand and answer. Some mango cream biscuit dessert. I love that. Mango Carlota. Oh, how did you figure out that was the name? So the person who figured out it was Mango Carlota read the title of the video. Good strategy. Somebody has already forgotten the name. It was only 2 minutes. How can you forget the name? Next question. What are the ingredients for making this dish? Good start. Biscuits, mango, cream, mango puree, condensed milk. Very good. You all did much better on this answer. How do you know this answer? Pictures were shown, it was visible by seeing the video. You could see it, right? Do you know the Spanish names of all of these ingredients? You don't, but you can still figure it out because you saw it and you have it in one language at least. All right, here's a question. How did all the ingredients transform into a mango puree or shake? What was the process? Blending, mixing, freezing. It was ready made. Based on previous experience, maybe she mixed all of them in a mixture. Setting overnight. You guys are very creative. Maybe some measurement of 2 creams and some mangoes were blended. Who knows? How confident do you feel about this answer? 10 is I am very confident. 1 is not so confident. You guys, come on. 1. So those of you who scored higher than an 8 on your confidence, I'm assuming because you have some prior knowledge. You've seen something like this before. You've seen how cream and mango becomes all of it together. Prior knowledge is playing a role. But come on, the person told you how to make it. They explained the process. Why aren't you more confident? You could hear it. You could even see it, see the ingredients. I don't know you all. I mean, class, come on. I'm working so hard here. Why don't you know how to do this? Ah, you didn't understand the language, huh? So you could hear it, but you didn't understand the language. Okay, that might be a factor then. Somebody said, I checked out because I didn't get it and didn't know what to expect. There was background noise. Maybe you heard it, but listening was so difficult because there was background noise. Okay, final question. At the end, did she say bake for 30 minutes or put in the fridge for 30 minutes? Da-da-da. No idea. This is interesting, right? It looked like it was refrigerated, no signs of a baked dish. Only because you know what a baked dish looks like can you make that assumption. Somebody early on called this dish a baked mango pudding dessert. So if you bake it for 30 minutes, I think your recipe is not going to work out. Okay, enough with the torture. What was easy for you in this and why? What was difficult for you in this and why? How did you feel learning from this video? Focus on the how did you feel. I want to know how you felt. The easy, difficult, make notes for yourself. To place the biscuits was easy. Good job, good job. I'm going to come to all of your homes and I want you to make this dish for me. Lots of fill in the blanks, right? You were just hoping you got the right answer. Good answers, everyone. Good answers. So how did you feel? How did you feel about this? Was it fun to learn this way? Was it stressful to learn this way? What did it do to your heart rate? It was stressful, it was frustrating, you got anxious. How long was this video? Or I should say, how long did it feel? It was only 2 minutes long. For someone, it felt like it was 10 minutes long. It was only 2 minutes, and look at all the answers you are giving me. It's stressful. Come on, just pay attention. It's only 2 minutes. You can do this. So all this to say, in these 3 examples, the one where I read to you, the one where you had to read, and the mango video example, did you have full access to the information? This is what I mean by the concept of access. It's not just can you hear it, it's do you understand it? Can you build on it? What amount of effort does it take to have access to comprehend? We're not going to go, well, we could go into this. What would have been helpful to better access and engage in the learning? Right, you've talked about visuals and such. What additional supports do you need? What changes do you need? And how does this experience relate to children who are deaf and hard of hearing? Subtitles, a word bank, some background knowledge, no background noise, captions in English, repetition. Hey, you all are telling me all the strategies that children who are deaf and hard of hearing benefit from having in a mainstream class. Slowing the pace. Clear steps. Some visual information, some steps, some subtitles. But that is only because you can read and understand English. What if you couldn't read and understand English? What if this was the only language you were learning? It's this or nothing. That is the case for most children who are deaf and hard of hearing. The language they are being taught in is often the only language that they have this skill in. Sometimes they do understand 2 languages, and one language is stronger than the other. But sometimes they can't read the subtitles in the other language. Also, who is going to create the subtitles? So what do we do? How do we support children who are deaf and hard of hearing? To help them access the form, the signal, we have to work on their listening skills. We have to work on their reading skills. And I can't believe I didn't write this down, but we have to think about their hearing technology and figure out assistive hearing technology. And anyone in the group, parent or professional, who doesn't know what their child's speech perception skills are like, needs to call their audiologist tonight and figure it out. I know there aren't many audiologists in India who are doing in-depth speech perception testing, but there are protocols for that, and you could have your audiologist or your implant representative teach your audiologist how to do it. You invested in the implants, you deserve to know what the child is doing with the implant. This is like, I'm serious. Only parents and professionals can change the current practice of not always doing speech perception testing. This is my call to action for all of you. So listening skills, hearing technology, reading skills is what gives us access to the form. Access to the meaning requires vocabulary development, sentence structure understanding, as well as development of background knowledge. So for example, in this case, this was, the night the moon went missing. I was worried you guys were gonna like look at the title up here and then know what the problem was in the story. So in this story, which is available for free from Storyweaver, and there are many amazing stories like this that can be used to help a child learn, the topic is all about bioluminescence. Animals in the ocean that luminesce, that shine, that have their own body creating light. And in the story, you meet several other animals, right? So you see glowing plankton. You see glowing plankton. And you see a shining, glimmering squid. And you see an anglerfish. And then you finally see the moon. Hooray, hip hip hooray. So if you knew that this is what the child was going to learn in school, even if it's just the concept, right, not the story, pre-teaching is a really good technique to help children be successful in the classroom. We can teach them the vocabulary, the concepts, and some background knowledge, right? So for this book, it would go, hey, I hear that next week in class, you're going to read the story about a girl who finds the missing moon. Her name is Maisha, and she goes deep in the ocean and she meets some very interesting animals. Guess what? All of those animals can make their own light. It's like they have a flashlight, a torch inside them. Do we know any animals that make their own light in the world? Maybe you live in an area where you see fireflies. Maybe there is a video on YouTube you can watch about this. So pre-teaching helps the student walk in and know what to expect. This pre-teaching can be done by parents or professionals. If the child is really strong in the language, you might not need to review and reteach. But for any mathematic concepts, any science facts and definitions, any social studies facts and history, I always review and reteach. Doesn't take too long, but I want to make sure that concept is clear. So now you're thinking, okay, Uma, we'll pre-teach. How do we find out what the child needs to learn? The first step is by figuring out the textbooks, the syllabus, and asking the teacher for the information. Then you yourself have to study and figure out what the concepts are and what does the child need to know first. Look at the vocabulary and the language level. What will the child understand? What won't the child understand? And based on that, you have to figure out how to provide this information to the child. Some children will need actual sit-down work. Some children will be, just fine if you said, oh, I found a cool YouTube video. You want to come watch it with me? And you're just watching this cool video while you are talking about it. And then towards the end, you can say, and maybe you learn about this in class. Oh, that will be fun. Tell me what you learn, okay? You keep the conversation going. There is a serve and return, give and take, even at this level. I do want to say, I mean, I'm making it sound very easy, but this type of thinking takes specialized training and practice. I was very fortunate to be trained as a teacher of the deaf who was trained to really think about language and academics. I was very fortunate to have mentors who modeled this for me, and one of them is in the audience today, and that is amazing. But I do think that teachers with their specialized knowledge of academics and curriculum and language and literacy and listening are ideal candidates. Teacher of the deaf, a special education teacher, are ideal candidates for this training so that then they can support the parent as well as the mainstream teacher and serve as a liaison. Right? I will say though that not all teachers are trained to think this way, but it's not rocket science. I can teach you how to do this. So if you are interested in this type of training as a professional or a parent, please let us know about your interest in the survey. And as we are looking at our future mainstream webinars, we will definitely take it into account. Okay, that was all the information I had for you today. I want you to tell me what the next step is that you are going to do right now, tomorrow, on Monday. What is the next step you are going to take based on this information? Please type in the chat. If you have any questions about what we have discussed, please type in the Q&A. If you are asking child-specific questions, we won't answer them in the webinar, but you are welcome to connect with us individually, either at info@listeningtogether.com. Or, just WhatsApp, find us. Oh my gosh, Cynthia, oh my God, I said your name, but that's okay. Cynthia Robinson, if you start revising the Markov, that would be amazing. So the Markov is the mainstream assessment of readiness for children over 5, which was developed by Cynthia Robinson, who is located in Jacksonville, Florida, and is a really cool tool to assess whether a child is ready for mainstreaming. I need to check out the Mark P. I'll be in touch to learn more about it. Awesome. Somebody said, I will get themes from teachers at school as the school year starts on Monday, so I can pre-teach in my speech sessions. I'm hoping you're pre-teaching in your speech language sessions. Please share the Listening Together YouTube channel with your colleagues at school. I have about 5 blog posts in the pipeline about all of this, which should all be completed by next weekend. And those will also be handouts, downloadables, blog posts that you can share with colleagues. I might even record this simulation of a reading and add it to the blog post if anyone thinks that's helpful, if anybody would like to use it. Okay, so now I know what I'm doing the rest of the week. Excellent. All right, I'm going to stop recording here.